Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is Tay Diggy with Epic Media. Wanted to take some time today to discuss Donald Trump's election and how that affects you policy-wise. It's been about 2 days since his election. Everyone's pretty much still freaking out, which is understandable because not much is known about Donald Trump or his policies. I just wanted to go over a couple of things to let you know what we do know and how it affects you directly as an American or an African American. One of the first things Donald Trump wants to work on is infrastructure. More specifically reinforcing bridges, roads, buildings. Certain areas need to be renovated in the inner cities and in some urban areas. That's actually pretty good for America, especially with job creation. He wants to privatize it. That actually means that private bidders will be able to bid on certain contracts for certain projects. Now really that shouldn't matter because even if it is privatized, they still have to hire people, and that's still American jobs. The problem with this is because it's privatized, after the completion of these roads and bridges, they'll actually be able to charge usage fees. That means after the completion of these projects, private companies can actually charge the government usage fees for people actually using the roads and the bridges. That gives these private companies the ability to make money off of public roads funded by the federal government even after the completion of these projects. If you go even deeper, Trump is actually going to award some of these projects to friends who have actually donated to his campaign during the election. That's Trump looking out for his personal friends. Everyone knows immigration was a big key issue with Trump's constituents. He's going to start enforcing immigration laws to deport illegal individuals in this country back to their native countries. What that means is children of these immigrants who are currently residing in the United States stand a chance to lose their parents, their grandparents, their moms, their uncles, their siblings. This can be catastrophic to the family structure. Honestly, there's really no way to gather together 6 to 7 million illegal immigrants in this country without spending incredible amounts of tax dollars. Trump is claiming this is actually going to help create more jobs, which I actually give Trump credit for because it actually will. These are service jobs, jobs usually Americans don't want to do, or they pay too low a wage to actually make a difference as far as maintaining an appropriate lifestyle for the average American. Defense, and more specifically in some areas of foreign relation, Trump has also promised to roll back the nuclear treaty that Obama and Hillary helped sign with a couple of countries, more specifically Iran. Iran will not be able to develop nuclear power for the infrastructure of their country, more specifically electric. Iran is going to make nukes whether they want to or not. Us policing them will make no difference. And preventing them the ability to create electric for their power grid through nuclear power that will be regulated by the UN is actually just going to sour our relations that we've built with them through the Obama administration. Trump wants to also repeal Obamacare, a signature legislation that President Obama actually signed while he was in office. Obamacare does have its problems, rates that are actually higher than previously projected. But what many of Obama's detractors don't admit is that these prices actually don't affect many of average Americans because they get waivers or tax breaks to offset it mathematically. Even if repealing Obamacare is the best move, Trump has not provided any alternate plan, and to this date has actually defaulted to reinstating privatized healthcare. Privatized healthcare was actually what we had before Obamacare. That means 4 million less Americans will be covered by health insurance, and if you have a pre-existing condition, that means you will not be covered at all. Trump also wants to pass something called the Public Safety Act. That will actually provide police officers with better gear and materials that they need to police the streets. The problem with this is much of the equipment that police are reinforced with tend to be militarized. We do remember the images of protesters being chased out of the public streets with what essentially looked like a police tank. This act also helps police officers relieve blame in the case of a public shooting when an unarmed black man is shot. Trump's tax plan also wants to lower taxes for the 1%, essentially raising them for the 98%. This means higher taxes for the lower and middle class and lower taxes paid for corporate entities. What he's hoping this will do is create more jobs. The problem with this is never do we see companies raising the minimum wage? As we know, it has not been raised to this point. Trickle-down economics do not work. Just ask Reagan. There are many policies you should probably check into when we're talking about President Trump. We're talking about less school funding, which is actually not going to help our imbalance in the quality between private and public schooling, and the repeal of the Fair Marriage Act, which means many gays and lesbians will no longer be able to marry. I don't want you to be a shoo-in for hating Donald Trump. That's not what I'm asking. But you should probably look up some of his policies. Some of them may work for us. Many of them I don't agree with, but you be your own judge. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned. We have some more content coming up for our channel. Once again, I'm Tay Diggy, and this is Epic Media.